Sony, I owe you an apology. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, I am truly, truly so sorry that I ever gave you money for Venom, Morbius, Madam Web, and now Kraven. I am so sorry that I ever supported any of these bullshit Spider-Man spin-off films, but now it's gone. In case you didn't know, by the way, Kraven the Hunter is the last one. Sony are not doing any more of these spin-off films. No more spin-offs. They're gone. They're dead. They're gone. In case you couldn't tell, I have not been a fan of the Sony spin-off films. I think all of them have been terrible. So why did I go watch Kraven the Hunter, I hear you ask? Well, I've sat through all the other ones. I might as well have attended the funeral. And Kraven the Hunter sends these films off, at least in a consistent manner, because it's consistently terrible like all the other films were. Honestly, I don't know what I'm going to say in this one. I really don't. Literally every single thing about this film was bad. There was nothing redeemable about it at all. The writing is atrocious. It's just the most generic story that you could put together. It's doing the most bland possible way. It is the most uninspired possible form of studio filmmaking that any studio could do, which is what Sony have been doing for all of these films. When we see Kraven's backstory, which, by the way, that flashback sequence showing his backstory as a kid when he gets his powers is like 20 minutes long, at least 15. It goes on and on and on and on and on. But when it happens, it's just so cheesy and so corny. And Kraven the Hunter in the comics, enlighten me, does he actually have superpowers in the comics? Or is he just a really, really good hunter? The only reference point I have is the Insomniac Spider-Man 2 video game last year, and Kraven in that game was an absolute badass beast of a character. And he had zero powers. He was just a completely natural, awesome beast of a character. But in this film, you know, he gets mauled by a lion, and then Calypso gives him the magic healing potion. Lion blood drops into his open wound, and these weird visions and symbols show up on the screen, and his eyes glow when, like I said, super generic and just super corny. Rhino is the main villain, and yeah. I just don't think we're ever going to get a cool version of that character in live action. I thought this film could maybe at least be the least worst of the Sony spin-offs, given that it's got an R rating in America, and the violence has a couple of blood splats in it, but that's it. I mean, there's one really brutal death involving a tree stump where a guy literally just gets ripped in half and it's just like a big explosion of blood. That was kind of cool. But honestly, the fight scenes were extremely unexciting. The first major like chase scene where Kraven is chasing the SUV in London, it is just so unexciting. It's so boring. The background music is just like stock chase music from like the YouTube audio library or something. I understand that making a good film is really, really hard. I do. I appreciate that and I respect that, and I try to keep that in mind when I watch films. But when I watch films like Kraven the Hunter and I see the acting and I experience the writing and the directing and just everything in it, and I ask myself, is that really the best effort that you can put together? And it feels like nobody involved in this film really gave a shit to make something halfway decent, which again is consistent with the other Sony Spider-Man spin-offs, because they did the same thing with those. They half-assed them, they didn't give a shit about them, and they just relied entirely on the IPs to sell them. It doesn't matter if the film's good as long as they make money. And once again, Sony, I'm really, really sorry for contributing to this film's box office in any kind of way. And thus ends one of the most pointless series of films in the history of cinema, with Kraven the Hunter, a generic, bland, uninspired, half-assed, and just really boring excuse for a superhero film. I was about to say rest in peace, SUMC, SPUMC, whatever the stupid abbreviation is for these piece of shit films, but you don't deserve to rest in peace. So I'm going to say burn in hell. Bye-bye.